Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news in the world of the NFL. Few stories are as electrifying right now as the speculative whispers swirling around the Washington Commanders and their pursuit of a game-changing move in the secondary. And at the heart of this buzz is the possibility of trading for Kyle Hamilton, the versatile safety from the Baltimore Ravens. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Kyle Hamilton, isn't he just a promising rookie? Well, folks, this is no ordinary rookie. Hamilton has been turning heads across the league since his debut, and the idea of adding him to the Commanders' roster is stirring up a lot of excitement, especially considering the current state of Washington's secondary. Let's back up a bit and look at what's happening with the Ravens first, because this trade rumor isn't coming out of nowhere. The Ravens, sitting at 9-6, are looking at postseason possibilities, but are also facing some critical roster decisions. Their secondary has been a point of concern, allowing around 210 passing yards per game, an issue that gets magnified when you consider their pass defense EPA, expected points added per pass, which is roughly plus 0.25, indicating that opponents are gaining valuable yards and points through the air. Baltimore's cap situation isn't making things easier either, with around $19 million in salary cap space dedicated to their defensive line after some key injuries. They're under pressure to make smart moves. Now, that's where it gets interesting. According to insiders, the Ravens are considering trading Hamilton for a high draft pick, possibly a first-round pick, especially if they decide to prioritize cap flexibility and address their depth issues. It's a bold move, but one that could make sense given the competitive landscape of the AFC North, where every game counts and the Ravens are looking to bolster their roster for another playoff push. They're aware that losing Hamilton would weaken their deep coverage, an area where their numbers show an 18% drop in coverage efficiency without him. That kind of vulnerability can be exploited by teams with strong passing attacks, like the Browns or even playoff-caliber quarterbacks. But what about the Commanders? Well, this potential trade could be a game-changer for Washington, especially considering their current rebuilding phase. The team, sitting at 4-11, is in desperate need of a spark, someone who can elevate their secondary and turn their defense into a real weapon. Hamilton, a hybrid phenom, has shown flashes of brilliance in his career, with 78 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 12 pass deflections in just his second year. His PFF grade is at 88.7, which indicates he's performing at an elite level, and his EPA per target is around 16, showing that he's effectively shutting down the pass game when he's on the field. What makes Hamilton such an intriguing fit for the Commanders isn't just his stats, it's his versatility. He can play both in the box and deep coverage, adding around 20% more tackles in open field situations, and his ability to roam the field makes him an ideal safety for a team trying to solidify its secondary. Plus, his presence could significantly improve Washington's turnover numbers, projected to increase by about 5 interceptions per season. This would be huge for a defense that has struggled for consistency in 2025, with only 3 interceptions overall. Hamilton's addition could be the piece that turns Washington into a ball-hawking unit, capable of creating turnovers that flip field position and swing momentum. The potential impact doesn't stop there. With Hamilton, Washington could see a reduction in passing yards allowed per game, from around 240 yards to roughly 190 yards, helping them tighten up against even the most potent offenses. His ability to cover tight ends and wide receivers, along with his open field tackling, makes him a matchup nightmare for opponents. If the Commanders manage to secure him, it could be the start of a new era in their secondary, transforming them from a middle-of-the-road unit into one of the league's most feared. Now the trade scenario is not just a fantasy. It's being driven by tangible factors like the upcoming NFL trade deadline, which is set for November 4th. Teams are feeling the pressure to make moves, especially with the playoffs approaching, and the need to improve rosters to compete in January. The Ravens, knowing they might lose Hamilton or face cap constraints, could be tempted to accept a high draft pick, especially if they believe they can replace him with emerging talent or draft another impact player. Meanwhile, the Commanders are looking at this as a prime opportunity to acquire a player who can make an immediate difference, someone who can elevate their defense and provide stability for years to come. From a strategic standpoint, Washington's coaching staff and front office are likely analyzing how Hamilton's skill set fits into their scheme. Their defense has shown flashes of promise, but has lacked a consistent playmaker in the secondary. Adding Hamilton could help bridge that gap, especially in a division where the NFC East features high-powered offenses like the Eagles and Cowboys. Strengthening the secondary would not only help in defending the pass, but also improve the overall team morale, giving the defense a confidence boost knowing they have a ball hawk back there who can make game-changing plays. And speaking of game-changing plays, Hamilton has already demonstrated his knack for turning the tide of a game. His 4 interceptions in 2025, along with his ability to break up passes and make tackles in open space, make him a genuine X-factor. His career stats also show a player who rises to the occasion: 8 interceptions, 185 tackles, and a consistent PFF grade of 87. 3. Despite dealing with an ankle injury that caused him to miss a game in Week 4, Hamilton has shown resilience and a desire to be a difference maker when healthy. His injury history is something to keep an eye on, but if he's fully recovered and motivated, he could be a cornerstone piece for Washington's defense for years. The ripple effect of this potential trade could be felt across the league, especially in the AFC North. The Ravens, crosstown rivals, the Cleveland Browns, would certainly take note if Baltimore secures a high draft pick in this deal, allowing them to focus on other needs or draft a future star. But for Washington fans, this is an exciting development. Imagine a defense led by Hamilton, who could be the missing piece to making a playoff run and possibly even competing seriously for a Super Bowl. His addition could shift the balance, giving the Commanders a new level of confidence and a fresh identity on defense. Looking at the odds, Hamilton's presence could boost Washington's Super Bowl chances significantly. Currently, their odds are around plus 15-0, but with Hamilton, those odds could tighten to plus 7-0 or better, reflecting the increased confidence in their championship potential. His impact in high-stakes playoff games could be the difference between an early exit and a deep postseason run. His history of making playoff plays, like the 2 defensive touchdowns after 2023, shows he's not afraid of the big moment. That mental toughness, combined with his physical skills, makes him a perfect fit for a team that's hungry to reestablish itself as a contender. Of course, this trade isn't just about immediate gains. It's about building a legacy, about making Washington's secondary a perennial strength. The Commanders' front office is known for being strategic and forward-thinking, and acquiring a player like Hamilton aligns perfectly with their long-term vision. It's a move that could define their rebuild, turning them into a team that's tough, versatile, and capable of competing with the best. In the end, the decision will come down to cap considerations and the willingness of the Ravens to part ways with a player who could be a franchise cornerstone. But the possibility of Hamilton donning the burgundy and gold is enough to get fans excited, dreaming of what could be if this move goes through. The NFL is unpredictable, and the trade deadline always brings surprises, but one thing is for sure: Washington Commanders fans should keep their eyes peeled because this story is just getting started, and it could change everything in the NFC East. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So what do you guys think? Is Hamilton the perfect fit for the Commanders? Would this trade make them instant contenders or just a promising piece in a bigger puzzle? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below. This is the kind of move that could define seasons, and I know all of you are just as hyped as I am to see what happens. Remember, the trade deadline is approaching fast, and with every passing day, the anticipation is building. Will Washington pull the trigger? Will Baltimore be willing to part with one of their brightest young stars? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. This is a story that every Commanders fan needs to follow closely. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and breaking news on everything Washington Commanders. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and keep supporting your team. We're heading into an exciting chapter, and I can't wait to see how this story unfolds. Thanks for riding along, and as always, let's go Commanders.